We're watching every Adam Sandler film to see if they still hold up. This week, we watched The Do-Over.
The Do-Over is an R-rated Netflix Sandler comedy that isn't afraid of being too explicit, a lot of the time to the audience's disgust. It stars David Spade, who plays a downtrodden banker before Sandler scoops him up, fakes both of their deaths, and takes them both on one of the most convoluted stories in Sandler history. The big question is this a fun, raunchy, unapologetic gooftacular, or a gross mess of misogynistic sludge?
We play a game of Adam Sandler themed bingo around here using all the tropes of an Adam Sandler film. Up on screen are our bingo cards. Joe, how did you go?
I scored bingo in 90 seconds. It was not hard in this film.
This was the most bingo heavy film I think we've watched. It was really just Adam Sandler cutting loose.
Yeah, apart from Grown Ups 2, I think this would take the cake. I had fat shaming, reference to boobs.
Oh yeah.
I also had Sandler Screams. A funny animal moment, Nick Swardson cameo, and of course, fight scene.
I too had boobs, I had fat shaming, I also had product placement, vacation plot, Sandler wears shorts, and Sandler's Yabbadabbadoo.
Where am I? You cannot find me!
I've got a lot to say about this movie, so let's get into the review.
We start with David Spade narrating his high school reunion, and it is so clear that he hates every aspect of his life.
Who did you want to be? And who did you actually become?
He's dating someone who's clearly cheating on him. He's a stepdad to two boys who hate him. And it's just the worst.
We get Adam Sandler's character coming in pretty quickly as the old high school friend you forgot about, kind of that rough and rugged character, and Spade plays the nerd, and he's like that cool guy that kind of showed him the wild side of life. And
yeah, still says outdated words when he's in his 40s and disrespecting women. It's awesome.
Damn, Charlie. You're still hung up on that skag.
We all have that high school friend that definitely hasn't grown up out of high school. Sandler's that guy. He's playing that guy.
And he seems to revel in it like it's the coolest character he's ever written.
Yeah, and it really doesn't fit, especially after just watching Spanglish, and Sandler plays his classic self where he's kind of reserved and a little demure.
Yeah.
And he's that quiet, soft-spoken guy that has some funny quips at people. But here, playing the rock star, his voice even changes to, yeah, I'm Adam Sandler, I'm a cool guy.
Remember how we said we were gonna kick ass and take names?
Well, it's become apparent that when he jump scared onto the screen when he was introduced, he was using the voice that he uses in Grown Ups and other movies he chooses not to act in. Like Spanglish, he had a character, he was acting, but this, it's just Adam Sandler.
You forgot the guy who showed you your first pair of tits.
I think it's Sandler trying to be a very cool version of himself.
Just the lazy Sandler voice, man.
But I feel like he had an accent this film. Like there was like, normally he's like, yeah, I'm Adam Sandler, I talk gruff. This one was like, I'm Adam Sandler, I talk gruff.
I don't see a difference.
Okay.
So he poses as an FBI agent in front of David Spade and kind of lures him out to this weekend boat trip to try and make David Spade feel cool again. But then he fakes both of their deaths.
You get that pretty immediately.
It's the classic high school movie trope of you've got that one loose friend that just gets you into all sorts of trouble. And that's exactly what's happening here as he turns both of their lives upside down.
Which is a really fun premise, I might add. I think there's a really fun idea here of you fake deaths and now you've got the free reins to do all the fun stuff and live a really fun life. And I was really excited for the plot to go down that direction. They jump off cliffs into waterfalls and they're swimming and they're partying. It seems fun. Instead, they go this really gritty route of partying and fucking chicks.
Yeah,
and
it's all about chicks, bro.
yeah, and how disposable they are. And you'd think that Sandler in his newer days would get away from that whole sadly misogynistic realm that he was in that was acceptable in the 2000s. So sometimes you let it slide because you go, well, that was the comedy of the time, and you try and give him that grace.
Yeah.
And now when it's a very modern day film, it's like, man, come on.
Whenever a chick asks for my age, I always add 10 years.
Yeah, the R rating is very apparent. Just F-bombs everywhere, and it just doesn't feel good on Sandler. Like, I get it's like a loose, fun, explosive film, but you're just saying fuck so much, and I'm like, I'm not used to this guy.
No, and there's also a tasteful way to do these things. And this was not a tasteful way to do it, and I think it's very easy to discern between good, tasteful R-rated humor, whether that's your Deadpool styles, where it's gritty and gory and sweary, but done well, and this. And I know there's gonna be some jabronis online that come from us because I've already seen your Rotten Tomato reviews of, this was my favorite movie ever. And I'm sorry, brother, that this hurts your feelings, but you're also good for viewership, so keep on commenting.
Dr. Ronald P. Fishman. The P stands for Pussy Pounder.
The P stands for Pussy Pounder. What a weird fucking quote that was, by the way. It just like goes out of his way to be so extra rugged. To what avail?
So Sandler gets himself and Spade to assume two dead people's identities who turn out to be on the most wanted list for the FBI, and they've got mobsters after them.
Also, Sandler's not an FBI agent. He's actually just worked in a morgue back in the day.
Yeah, supposedly. He just keeps lying about what he does.
Keeps putting David Spade in these situations of, you know, partaking in drugs or in three-ways.
Oh God,
Sandler's just there watching. Yeah, there's this whole scene. It's Louis Guzman and David Spade in a three-way, and Sandler's in the corner watching.
With Jackie Sandler, his real-life wife, on his shoulder.
And it's just, like, you see Louis' balls, it's very graphic, and again, if it was done well, like a Superbad style comedy, I would laugh my ass off for sure.
But it's not funny, it's just gross.
Yeah, it's just gross for the sake of being gross. It felt like a deleted scenes that you'd get in the extended cut, not that they ever released that.
All of a sudden, hitmen rock up and Adam Sandler turns into an action film hero. They're on the run, they hit Nick Swardson with a car.
You kind of sit there after all this action and drama happens after them, this beautiful island home, and you think, what has happened in this plot so far? And then you realize you've got an hour to go.
So while on the run, they're wondering what to do next, and they see that the identity that David Spade has assumed has a really attractive wife. So because she's hot, they're like, oh, let's go find her for more information, and hey, maybe we could bang her too, who knows?
So to get her attention, they decide to run her over with an RV. Just to contextualize a little bit here, Adam Sandler playing this playboy type guy makes no sense when we find out later in the film, spoiler alert, that he's got a wife and a child and he's actually a really nice guy.
Yeah.
So the whole character he plays the entirety of the side of the movie doesn't really make any sense. But we move, now he's flirting with this woman.
Well, her husband just died. She's mourning, for Christ's sake.
And she needs a nice dick to cry on.
But then Nick Swardson rocks up at the door again. So they kidnap her and they hit Nick Swardson again with a car funny gag, and they're on the run again.
And then we pretty much just get that copy paste of the hitman coming after them, Nick Swardson coming after them, and they're trying to find the truth. And ultimately, all they want to do, it seems, is bang the dead man's wife who is grieving.
So they're in this bar for a second, but then they're discovered again, and they run off to Adam Sandler's mum's house.
We get this really awkward moment as well of Sandler's mum, who's obviously suffering from dementia, and Sandler just getting so angry at her, and we still don't know why, because they're keeping all the actual interesting parts of the film a secret to us still.
Yeah.
And then we get Sandler's ex-wife come through, and it's another dark, sad scene. Again, we don't really know why we're feeling sad, because we still don't understand the plot fully.
And then, of course, they're having sex.
It's so fucking hot how you track me down, woman. I would follow you to the pits of hell, you fucker!
And then David Spade is in a bedroom with the dead man's ex-wife, so then they're having sex. A supposedly grieving woman is just falling head over heels into David Spade's arms and legs, and I'm just like, this is so hard to watch. In some way or another, we find out that the identities that Sandler and Spade have assumed had the cure for cancer, and hence why the people, the grunts, are chasing after them to get that cure for cancer off them, but they don't really know where the cure is either, so everyone's just running after each other in a circle. We meet this random researcher man who used to know the dead identities, who's giving them information. But it's all just so convoluted at this point. David Spade's putting together the puzzle pieces, and he goes and sees Adam Sandler's supposed ex-wife, who turns out to be his actual wife, and he has her, and he has a kid, and she tells him that Adam Sandler actually has cancer himself, and has been searching for this cure for cancer this entire time, and she's not actually crazy, she just wants him to come back to their family.
And we find out why Sandler's decided to bring David Spade into this, and that's because he worked at a bank and he kind of understands how banks work. It's supposed to be some sort of super genius, but he just worked as a low-level bank manager.
He saw a deadbeat who would just follow his every cool move, and it clearly worked.
Sandler finally gets caught by the big, crazy, athletic German man, and he's about to get tortured, and then we get the reveal that the girl that they've both been pining after the whole entire film is in fact working with the guys that were chasing them the whole time.
No way! She's the one who killed her husband and his partner because she wants the cure for cancer for money, not for the public health.
We get some lazy wrappings up of moments that they slightly mentioned early on in the film. We get a fight scene.
I'm so tired of women lying to me!
And bing bang boom, they now have the cure for cancer, and that's how they get off scot-free from committing all these crimes.
Yeah, the FBI takes him in and they're like, damn, I guess we'll just trade this for your lives and off you go, have a great life. Neither of them suffer from any consequences.
Not even slightly. In fact, they win. They win exponentially, and we lose as an audience as Adam Sandler's mum comes out right at the end with her boobs hanging out. What a fun cap off of the film.
What a great little treat at the end of this hour 47 runtime.
And true to an Adam Sandler film, there is this undeserved sentimental moment at the end where both of them go and jump off a cliff together. And the funny thing is, you're sitting there watching this scene with this inspirational music and you're thinking, oh, this movie could have been good.
Yeah.
This movie could have been a really fun, feel-good film with two guys hanging out after killing themselves and their old identities off that they didn't want and going and exploring the world. But the way they took this film, where they took it, was just so wrong. Here is a quote from a review on Rotten Tomatoes, which normally I never trust, but I thought this really perfectly summed up this film. Typical Adam Sandler fanfare in every way, from the raunchy humor to the inclusion of his buddies, to the deplorable view of women, to the vacation disguised as a movie shoot, to the forced sentimentality in the final act.
What a beautiful review.
Just sums up perfectly what we watched. And to note to those that might be new around here, we genuinely like the Sandman and root for his successes because he does do some fantastic films. And you can look at our whole back catalogue because there's some ones we absolutely herald. But shit like this, where he teams up with Netflix with this grandiose budget for no reason to put together a half-scripted film, no, we're never going to herald this as good Sandler. And if Sandler, if you're watching, I'm sorry, buddy, you know what you've done here and you know you can do better.
It's painful because he is a really talented guy, but it's just gone to waste here, Mac. And that's why I gave it a 2.
Nice, fair.
It's just real deplorable energies and just gross. It's just sludge.
And there's deplorable in the likes of I Now Pronounce You Chuck and Larry, where at least it's trying to stand for something. This movie stood for nothing.
Yeah.
And I gave it a 3.
Yeah, nice.
I thought it had merit in that the plot could have gone somewhere else. There were some moments I slightly chuckled at, but the fact that I checked out for over an hour.
It's just not worth your time at all. But it is time for us to pick the next movie.
Yes, sir.
Not many left.
All right, here we go. The next film that we are watching, Big Daddy 1999.
Nice. Let's go.
Oh, one of the most iconic Sandler films. One of my favorites as a kid. I am so excited for Big Daddy.
It's been so long since I've seen it, so I'm excited to revisit now that I have the Sandler knowledge that I have.
Hey, if you love Adam Sandler films, we're reviewing every single one of them, and you can watch them all on our YouTube channel. Go have a sus.
Please, but most of all, make sure you tell someone you love them today.
Bye now.
Bye.